How much did you get? What? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. You got a lot, right? It's an inheritance. You don't need to hide it from me, right? It's $80,000. I told him a lie on the spot. I didn't need to lie to my husband, and I could have told him before he asked, but I had a bad feeling and lied. That was something I never expected to happen. My aunt was unmarried and had no children, living alone. As a child, I was worried about her, but I had no way to help her. My parents have been working together since I was young, and when my aunt was young, she used to come to our house almost every day from the evening to coincide with my return home. She taught me old-fashioned games, helped me with my homework, and then we ate together. I remember her teaching me with a gentle tone and explaining things clearly, even though I didn't like studying very much. In the spring of my second year of junior high school, my family moved to Los Angeles due to my father's transfer, and by then, my grandparents had also passed away, so I had very few opportunities to meet my aunt. It was very sad for me to lose my aunt, who was like a second mother to me, but I always loved her somewhere, and I couldn't forget the happy days I spent with her. She felt the same way, and my mother told me that my aunt thought of me as her daughter and was also lonely. Hearing that, I felt even more connected to my aunt and was happy. I grew up and married my husband, whom I met through a business partner. We bought a small used house, planted an olive tree, a symbol of peace, together to commemorate our move-in, and I lived as a housewife while working part-time. One day, a shocking event happened to me. My aunt suddenly fell ill and was taken to the hospital, and she became a person who would never return. I went to the funeral, but I couldn't accept that my aunt had died and stayed in bed for several days. At that time, my mother told me that a lawyer had something to tell me. You are the heir to your deceased aunt's estate. The amount was a whopping $5 million. I was shocked to hear that my aunt had died, but my thought process stopped at the inheritance that was too expensive. Looking back, I didn't know anything about my aunt's job. I knew that my aunt wasn't in dire need of money, but I never thought she had built up such a fortune. According to some reports, she was an investor. She started investing, and her assets grew enormously with high economic growth. It's not $5,000, not $50,000, not $500,000, but $5 million. I was reminded of my fond memories with my aunt. When she came to visit me in Los Angeles, she said, "I'll give you all my inheritance, so don't worry." At that time, I thought it was just a joke and let it pass. That word was serious. As a child, I couldn't take my aunt's words seriously, but she had been trying to leave me an inheritance since then. I couldn't stop crying with surprise and sadness, but after a few days, I gradually calmed down and began to understand the current situation correctly. However, I couldn't finish inheriting this estate without trouble. My husband knew that there was an inheritance from my aunt to me, somehow. He had been pursuing various things about the inheritance. By the way, how much did you get? What? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. You got a lot, right? It's an inheritance. You don't need to hide it from me, right? It's $80,000. I told him a lie on the spot. I didn't need to lie to my husband, and I could have told him before he asked, but I had a bad feeling and lied. After that, my husband seemed to have found my cash card while I was away and found out the real amount of the inheritance. I was angry that my husband had checked my account without permission, but he was the one who shouted first. "Why did you lie to me about the amount of the inheritance?" I was surprised by the large amount, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, who do you think has been feeding you all this time? I've been feeding a useless ugly woman like you, so I have a good reason to receive enough money. It was the moment when my husband's true nature appeared, who had been so kind. I had been with my husband for a long time, but I never thought he would say such a terrible thing. Money really changes people. I was too shocked to say anything. Of course, I loved him at the time and married him, and I knew a lot of wonderful things about him. But he became a different person in front of a large sum of money. However, the shock did not end there. A few days later, my husband seemed to have quit his job on his own and became a playboy who did not work. Why did you quit your job? Shut up. I have a lot of money, so let me do what I want. A large sum of money, I probably referred to the inheritance I inherited from my aunt, but it was not as if my husband had inherited money from my aunt to play with. Whether he knew my feelings or not, my husband used his credit card to spend extravagantly in the nightlife district. My husband went out drinking every night and never came home. I saw him gambling, so I decided to divorce him. My husband didn't realize my feelings. I could argue with him with anger and reason, but I thought it would be troublesome to argue again from here, so I just told him honestly that I wanted a divorce. What? Are you trying to monopolize a large sum of money? Monopolize? It's not your money in the first place. Stop joking about divorce all of a sudden. Wait until I spend the large sum of money. Anyway, I'm going to get a divorce. Don't count on the money anymore. Then my husband left home and didn't come back for 2 days. I thought my husband might be reflecting on his actions, but he suddenly came back with his parents. Long time no see. How are you? Long time no see. So, what brings you here today? My in-laws never thought highly of me. From the beginning of our marriage, they always belittled me, calling me an incompetent wife, unattractive, and a bad match. Of course, I distanced myself from them, and I never had a chance to eat or go out with them. I didn't even visit them for Christmas or New Year's greetings. My husband's parents live in Boston, and there was never a good time to visit them. I didn't want to see my in-laws, so the fact that we lived far away was a good excuse not to see them. My in-laws came all the way to see me. They already knew about the inheritance, and I could understand they came to see me because of it. I asked my husband and in-laws what they wanted to talk about. I'm thinking of building a house. You got a lot of inheritance, right? Use it to pay for it. It's only $500,000. It's okay, right? It seems that they are planning to build a new house and want me to pay for it. They came all the way from Boston to tell me such a ridiculous thing. I feel disgusted by their audacity. My in-laws, who have always belittled and hurt me, have come to me completely for money. Of course, I rejected their selfish proposal. No, I can't give you the money I inherited. We want to live with you in a big house. Isn't that okay? She keeps trying to make me pay by saying such a reason. I'm already thinking of divorcing my husband, so there's no way I can accept such a demand. Besides, living with these hated in-laws would be the worst. That money is something I received from my precious aunt, and I will decide how to use it. I can't even consider living with you. When I refused their proposal, I was unreasonably shouted at. You're misunderstanding something, aren't you? You should be more grateful to my son and us. My son has been supporting you, an unattractive wife like you, and giving you a comfortable life. You're rejecting our request after coming all the way here? What's wrong with you? Why do I have to be yelled at? It's too unreasonable. I was certainly a housewife, and my husband's income was the main one, but I did the housework every day and worked part-time to supplement the household budget. Of course, I was grateful to my husband. But the story of paying for the new house has nothing to do with that. I told them that, but my in-laws, especially my father-in-law, didn't understand what I was saying and never changed their opinion. Even if they knew they were saying something meaningless, they would never change their opinion. I'm not good at insisting on my own opinion like that, so I kept my distance. Do these people think they can take people's money with such ridiculous threats until my heart breaks? I don't want to use the money my aunt left me for people who insult me. Why do I have to accept such an unreasonable demand when I'm so sad? It's the worst. I want to end this soon. I felt that it was impossible to continue any further. In the first place, we are planning to get a divorce. Therefore, the inheritance is mine. Please don't proceed with the conversation on your own. My voice became louder. Then my husband and in-laws became even more angry when they heard this. You're joking about divorce. I won't give you any money, and your selfish opinion won't be accepted. I will divorce you no matter what you say, and I will never give you money for your sake. You're really annoying. We won't let you run away with the inheritance you got. My furious father-in-law ran to the entrance. Then I heard a neighbor's voice from the garden saying, "Oh my God," and when I went to see the entrance, the fire had spread to the garbage in the garbage storage area of the entrance. Why is there a fire? I looked around in surprise and saw my panicked father-in-law there. The fire in the garden spread to the surrounding flammable objects, and the fire became stronger. Then it spread to the olive tree, which was the couple's commemorative tree. Hey! What are you doing? Setting fire to the house. Are you sane? It's not my fault. I was trying to scare you with fire because you never listened to me. I didn't think it would turn out like this. I'm not guilty. Arson is a serious crime. My fire extinguisher was ready, and I was able to put out the fire somehow. Fortunately, the house did not catch fire, and no one was injured. Even if he was angry with me for my continued refusal, what kind of nerve did he have to set fire to the house? My husband and mother-in-law must have thought it was bad too, as they had escaped while I was putting out the fire with the extinguisher. However, there is clear evidence that my father-in-law set the fire. I had been keeping a voice recorder since the day I decided to divorce, and I had recorded everything. I reported it to the police and submitted it. Thanks to the eyewitness reports from the neighbors, my husband and in-laws were arrested for extortion and arson. Our divorce, which seemed to be difficult, was successfully completed. This was because my lawyer and mother secretly investigated my husband's infidelity. Surprisingly, there was a lot of evidence of my husband's infidelity with many women in the city at night. Of course, later, the amount my husband spent on his extravagant nights in the city was charged to his credit card. Since I was already divorced, I had no obligation to pay, and my husband borrowed the money he couldn't pay from a consumer finance company. He also had to apologize and start over as a regular employee at the company he had quit. His salary has also been reduced, and he is slowly paying back the money he spent on his extravagant nights while being urged by tough-looking men. It won't be easy to pay back such a large amount of money, but it's his own fault, so there's nothing to be done. After the divorce, I thought about why such a sad incident happened. It's true that my ex-husband and ex-in-laws had problems with their personalities, but I felt more strongly about the horror of money. Humans are swayed and driven crazy by money. Are humans really such weak creatures? I experienced the power of money firsthand and was able to strongly resolve to deal with money correctly. I built a small house on a hill overlooking the sea and live happily with my parents while doing home gardening. I still have plenty of money left after building a house. If it's going to cause family trouble like that, I want to use the remaining money for social contribution. I'm planning to run a nursing home now. I want to create a facility where people can find the fundamental pleasures of being human without being bound by money and enjoy their free time freely. How was this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.